Let's roll up my sleeves because it's going to get serious. Well, I say it's going to get serious. We're going to have some fun with Morgan. But yeah, the Atlantic Way was visiting both modes. Ah, very nice, very nice. Nice to see you again. Happy New Year, everyone! For those of you that I haven't spoken to in the Discord yet, Happy New Year, and obviously Merry Christmas, and hope you all had good holidays. I'm going to stick with the dark theme because we have a consistent theme from all of the feedback whilst we're during the events and after the events to be in dark theme. So I'm going to stick there. And what I want to do today is cover yearly planning, because there are various ways to do yearly planning, but also cover some of the other questions that I'm getting inside of Discord and other places about how to use Morgen, using tasks in Morgen, and then using frames. So we will be covering the AI planner, which you can see at the top. For those of you that have any questions, you can put them inside of the chat in the side box, and there will be a replay available afterwards. So yes. As you can see, funny stuff, I was just thinking about how to plan an ideal week. Ah, yes. Well, the ideal week is kind of the backbone, the framework, the philosophy, at least, behind using frames in Morgen. So that's something I will certainly cover. For context, for those new to Morgen, new to the way the application works, at the bottom left you can see I have my icon. I could push P on my keyboard, but I'm going to push on the icon and go to Preferences. Inside of Preferences, P is the shortcut, you will notice Default Calendar Events and Default Calendar Tasks. These are different colors purely for ease of viewing when we're inside of Morgen and looking at the calendar. And if I go down to the calendar, you can see I've got my Google Calendar account connected. I have one calendar account connected, which is available on the basic plan. If you want any other calendar accounts, such as an Outlook or a second Google Calendar account, that would be on the Pro plan. You can add that via the plus button. And then these are 4 calendars that are inside of the calendar account. Not to be confused, you can have multiple calendars in the same calendar account on the basic plan. So I have on my personal Google Calendar, I think about 37 different calendars inside of that one calendar account. So you can have lots of calendars inside of Morgen, even if you're just on the basic plan. You'll notice I've got a task calendar, which is blue. If I click on the 3 dots, I can change the color. I've got the events calendar, the habits calendar, and the frame calendar. You can change the name of the calendar inside of Morgen, and that doesn't match the original calendar source. So if you're in Outlook, for example, or Google, and you're sharing calendars and it's got the entire email, you can change the name of that inside of here. You can also change the name of this calendar. You can see I've changed this to personal. So if you've got a Google account that's personal and an Outlook account that's work, you can change the name of that to personal and work. So this just gives you a bit of context as to what's going on behind the scenes, and everything that I add inside of Morgen goes to that source calendar. So anything, you can see here, office hours, inside of Morgen goes to that calendar. If I double click, it brings me to the edit window, and this is where I can change what calendar the event, the task, or the frame is in. So when I left click, you see there's the personal Google Calendar account. I can change this to tasks, events, habits, or frame. So if I click into tasks, it's going to say, do I want to do this? I'm going to confirm. And now on my Google Calendar, it will be synced, and the office hours event is now inside of my Google Calendar tasks calendar. What I personally do, if I change this back to events and confirm, as you will have seen in the general settings, is have an events calendar and a task calendar for Morgen specifically. So if I left click, and you see at the top we've got task or frame, if I click on task, it now goes to the task calendar, which if I just, actually let's leave this as blocked for the moment. Now when I look at the calendar, I can visually see a color difference. This is blue, this is orange, but you'll also notice a task is outlined in the color, whereas an event is blocked. If I change this from busy to free and save, you'll notice the color is now a little bit more faded because it's a free event, whereas if I double click and then go busy, it is now a busy event. Nice and simple. So when we get to, if I hold shift, highlight, let's just delete all of those, delete the selected sorted. I go into the task and delete this one as well. When we get to the annual planning and planning for the new year, we can do it in lots of different ways. The goal, So if you have, for example, a quarterly goal, a monthly goal, a weekly goal, it could be in a task list, it could be in a main task, or it could be in a subtask. So what I'm going to do is go to View, go to Add New Task List, and let's say this is Goal 1, and save. So I've now added a new list inside of Morgen, and this is a task list which I can add tasks to. If I push plus, we've got, so inside of this goal 1, we might want to do certain things inside of a week or inside of a month. So let's bring this to something tangible. The goal 1 will be, let's come up with a goal. Let's be very broad to start with. Eat healthy. We want to eat healthy this year. And what is a task that's going to be involved in that? Well, we need to obviously have breakfast. We were talking about food beforehand, which is why I've gone with this. Lunch and then dinner. So we want to have a regular food schedule, eating healthy, nice and simple. So this goal could be a task list. But then inside of the task list, we have the main task. And to the right, we've then got a plus button. And inside the plus, we can add a subtask. So maybe dinner, we want to have a different meal, certain types of meals. And again, we can add this as a task, which is seen individually inside of Morgen as a separate task. So we could say a big dinner and then a small dinner. So these could be different subtasks of the main task inside of a main list, the goal being eat healthy. Alternatively, if we go to the inbox, let's add a task in here and we go eat healthy. We could then drag this task across all day slots inside of the calendar. So if we go up here, I can drag this and schedule it for the all day. You'll notice it's in the task calendar. If we go to dinner, if I left click, there is no repeat option, but we want to obviously eat dinner every day. So what I need to do is drag the dinner task onto a time in the calendar. And now when I double click, you can see we've got the repeat option. So I can repeat this every day and it's in the task list, eat healthy. So I know the goal of eating healthy relates to this dinner task, having a regular food schedule. This eat healthy task up here is a different way of managing that eat healthy goal. If we go to push X on the keyboard, I can go to the 2 weeks. I can drag this across because maybe this goal is only, actually let's go to a month view instead, is only for this first month. I want to focus on eating healthy for the first month. So I've added this individual task in for the entire month. Or for dinner, I have the dinner, let's double click, and I have this repeat for every day. And let's go save. And now I have dinner for every day. So that's a different way of managing granular goals with the task because we've got dinner repeating each time. And that can be seen in the goal as eat healthy. But then on top of that, we could say, okay, small dinner, big dinner. Maybe if we go to the week view, and let's just unschedule this and future occurrences. Maybe we want to have a small dinner on Tuesday. And now that I've scheduled it, I can repeat this for, let's go, we've got Tuesday, haven't we? So Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So enter, that will say every week on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, save. So this is a subtask. And then we're going to go small dinner. Did I say small dinner for big dinner? I think I did. So small dinner now, and then we're going to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, enter, and now that is going to repeat for Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, save, and now we have a big dinner, a small dinner. Obviously, you could be a little bit more specific with big and small. You could say a certain focus. Maybe it's a vegetarian meal that you want to have on a Monday, or maybe you want to have a cheat meal on a Saturday, or maybe you want to have an Italian day. You can have these as recurring tasks all underneath this eat healthy goal. This is making me hungry, even though I've just eaten, but now I'm talking about food a lot. So this is one way that you could use subtasks, and you'll see the main task is still as dinner. So we could have a main task here as dinner, which means dinner prep. Or for me, it would be dinner prep. So you could have in here, repeat, every day, save. So now I know I probably should have done that back here. Let's go this and future occurrences. So now I have dinner prep as the main task, and then the subtask, which is a different recurrence underneath for all of the different types of dinners that you may want. So this is just to show you some of the flexibility when it comes to planning goals and what you may want to do moving forwards in either go to the M, go to the month view with the eat healthy, the one that goes across, or we could use recurring habits with main tasks, so parent tasks. If we go to the day view, we've got a parent task that repeats every day, or if we've got a subtask that does recurring in whatever occurrence that you've put in. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, if I was to tick this task off, let's go to the week view so you can see what's going on. If I tick this big dinner task off from the sidebar, we'll see big dinner has now been completed. If, however, I come in and tick off this small dinner, this instance has been completed. And that's the difference between ticking them off from the sidebar and ticking them off inside of the main view. So what I would recommend doing, obviously, if you want to keep the goals up, is to tick them off inside of the main view rather than clicking them off in sidebar, because you don't want them to disappear. So if we go to the next one, small dinner is still there, but the big dinner has gone because you've actually completed the big dinner. I'm just pushing the right arrow key to move forwards in time, and you can see they're all going on and off as appropriate. What I'm going to do is actually complete all of these tasks. So dinner is now going to be completed and small dinner, because I've completed the main task. Oh, I didn't want to go and make that. That was by accident. However, what I do want to do is have lunch and breakfast every day. This is where you can use the calendar and actually use frames instead of breakfast and lunch. So I could, in the morning, this is what I was just discussing, when I drag down, I could, instead of going for a task, I could use an event. So say we name this breakfast, and this time blocks a spot inside your calendar that says, nope, you can't do anything here because you're eating. This is an event. So I can save, and now this is blocked out. I'm eating my breakfast then. If I was to do that for Friday, I could do that with a task. Both of these are options, but what I was exploring before this was you could also actually do this with a frame. If we hover over here and we go over to a frame, rename this breakfast, now we can, you'll notice, have every week. I'm going to change this to no repeat, but now I have a frame that's signifying, hey, this is time to be eating, you shouldn't really be doing anything, and I can save. So these are 3 different visual ways to show that I'm actually blocking my time inside of Morgen. The event will show, obviously, as busy or free, but as an event, which means you can add attendees. So maybe for lunch, you go out with co-workers, or you go out with friends. So maybe lunchtime is an event because you invite some co-workers and friends to your lunches. Or you might be like me and you work at home, so it's just a task. You don't need to invite people, and it's something that you want to tick off. So when you do tick it off, it disappears from your calendar view. If you want it to appear, you can have it appear. So if we go to the week, you can say show completed tasks, and now it's going to show all the completed tasks that we've done inside of this Morgen account. So if I hide them, now that task has gone. If I show this task and hover over, you can see I can restore the task. Now the task has been restored. I can then uncheck it, and if we go back to show completed tasks, it's now still to do. But I've just added this frame, and this frame looks very different because not many other calendar apps or task apps have a frame. It's a different way of viewing your time on a calendar. And if you left click into a frame, you can add an event and add a task. So this, for me, is my preference when planning out different time. You can see as I hover over, I can start the AI planner and I can edit the frame. If I go back to edit the frame, we've got all the information in here. But if I start the AI planner, what it'll do is, actually, I have added some tasks in. It will then suggest tasks to be done, which I can then filter for. And this is how I would personally recommend using Morgen to plan out your week. And that was one of the questions that was inside of the chat. How do you plan out an ideal week ready for the new year, ready for the month? Well, At the top in the all day, we have this eat healthy goal. You could leave that up there. You could add multiple projects and goals up there, but I'm going to leave that up there for reference. What I'm going to do is actually move the breakfast down to lunchtime, and I'm going to change the name of the event to lunch. I'm then going to repeat this for, let's go every weekday and save. I'm actually going to just drag it back so that we can see this in the week view. I'm going to do the dinner is going to be a task. Let's change the name of that to dinner. I double left click to change in, and let's go every day, not every week, every day, save. So this is every single week. Lunch is the same day during the weekdays, but on Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to have lunch a little bit later. So I'm going to go lunch, and I'm going to go into custom, Saturday, Sunday, enter, and every week on Saturday, Sunday, save. Now I've got lunch, a little bit different. We've got lunch during the week is that time. Dinner is always the same. Breakfast, let's move this forwards a little, or backwards a little bit in time. Go to edit, repeat, every day, and save. So now I have breakfast represented through a frame, we have lunch represented through an event, and then we have dinner represented through a task. When we have other tasks that we want to do, I could do the same thing. I could drag and block out a 2-hour time for whatever task I want to do. But eat healthy is just one goal. Maybe I have another goal, and this is where you could theme your week. So one way of doing this is if we come up to the all-day event, on Monday we want to do, let's say project 1, because I can't think of something at the moment to work with, and let's go project 2 is on this day, but then it's also on this day. So you're working on project 1 on Monday, project 2 on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then project 3 on Thursday and Friday, and then on Saturday, Sunday, it's a rest. Here, you can see you've blocked it out through an event. That's one way to visually show you're blocking things out inside of Morgen. The other ways you could do it is, again, using tasks. You could do it in the time slots in here. So dragging down, creating a time, creating an event, and blocking them out and adding repeated elements to them. Or, which is my personal preference, is to use frames. The reason I use frames is because I can leverage the AI planner. So if project 1 is going to be from 9 till 12, I'm going to say frame. And then in here, I'm going to say project 1. And this is going to be every weekday, but I don't want it every weekday. I actually want this just for Monday. So I'm going to say every week. I'm going to change this to frame just so you can see the visual difference, and we will save that. So now if I go to next week by using the right arrow, you can see there it is, project 1 on Monday, go to right, project 1 is still there. You'll see the dates are changing at the top as I move forwards. That frame is repeating all the way through. I can then do the same thing inside of the slot here. We can go project 1, frame, go in here, go frame, and then every week, save. And now, if I come in and let's just adjust this list. So I'm going to change the name of this list because I'm done with this demonstration for the moment, and call this project 1 and save the name of that. Let's rename this to task 1 and rename breakfast to, oh no, is that actually breakfast? No, we're not actually using breakfast anymore. Task 2 and save. What the AI planner does is it suggests when to do tasks. So at the moment we've got task 1 and task 2 in project 1, and then we have an eat healthy task in the inbox. If I go to project, go to edit, at the moment anything can be suggested inside of this project 1 frame. So if we go, oh, that's in the past, isn't it? It is in the past. Let's go to next week because I believe it will work. Yep, there we go. It's now suggesting where is that task? I will check that in a second, but we've got the dinner task, we've got the task 1 task, and the eat healthy task. And these are all tasks inside of, that will be in the recurring task list I had hidden because I forgot to get rid of it. Let's just delete that task list so we're not cluttering things up from previous office hours. So we've now got the task 1 being suggested, and we've got the eat healthy being suggested in the breakfast frames. But that doesn't really make sense. We don't really want to do a project 1 task at breakfast time. So if we exit out of there, we can come into breakfast, go to edit and filter. And here we can filter for any specific either list or task size. And with the task integrations, you can add various frame filters. I'm going to say quick wins, so anything shorter than 15 minutes will be scheduled inside of breakfast. And you'll notice the filtered tasks number is now 0 because there is nothing that is less than 15 minutes. So if we go save and now push the AI planner, we don't have enough tasks. And that's because I deleted the tasks from the other task list. We need at least 5 tasks to use the AI planner. At the moment, we have 3. So I can create a task, connect an integration, or I can come out and actually manually add these tasks. So let's just go task 3, task 4, and it should work now because we've got the eat healthy task as well. And there we go. So what it's done is it's looked forwards, planning ahead. So if I drag the style all the way over, it's going to plan as far ahead as it can, which is 8 days. And it's found this frame, project 1 frame, and said, yep, you've got some space in here, and there's some tasks inside of this project list which you could schedule. And they're hovering because these are suggestions. And so now I can, I just noticed eat healthy's in there. That's because we didn't filter the list. We filtered the breakfast list, not the project 1 list. So it's suggesting eat healthy inside of this project 1 frame. But obviously we don't want to have a goal inside of a frame. So let's come in. Let's actually go back to today and do it right from the start. And we add the filter to the project 1 list. We go save and then edit, add the filter to the project 1 and save. And now when I push on the AI planner, it's going to suggest task 4, task 1, and task 3. And when I go schedule all, it will actually schedule. You noticed all those calendars appear. It's now scheduled those tasks inside of this frame. And that is how I would plan out project 1. How do I plan out when I'm going to do project 1? I have this frame. If I hold shift on my keyboard, you can see the mouse changes into an X. So shift, I can hover over all 3, and now I can bulk delete all 3 of these. And because these are slots, I'm deleting the slot, not the task. So I'm unscheduling the task, not deleting it. If, however, it was on and I right click, you'll see unschedule and delete. If I push that, then it goes completely, but we don't want to do that right now. So that is how I would plan out for project 1. We've got project 1 frame, and what we can do is exactly the same for the project 2. So we go project 2 frame. Let's move this to frame. We don't have a list yet, and we can go every week. That is this frame, every week. Save. If we add a new list, project 2, and save it, maybe in project 2 we have 2 different elements that we want to focus on, and so there's high priorities and low priorities. If we add in task 1 and we add in task 2, task 1 might be a very long task, so it might take us, say, 10 hours to complete it, and it's actually really important to do. We don't have a due date on it yet. But task 2, it doesn't really have an estimate yet, but it has a due date. So let's say it's due on the 11th. Let's save that. Now you'll notice we are using the due lists. And the due lists are using the due date, not the planned date. So if I was to schedule this task, it's very long. If I was to schedule this task, let's say over, I guess while we're here, I'll mention why that was purple. It's purple because it's going to add it to the frame calendar. If I move it out, it's moving it to the task calendar. So you can see purple, the frame calendar, blue, the task calendar. And that's because of one of the settings I have currently enabled, which if I push P, and then you can see here, prioritize frame calendar, yes, always. If this was no, then it would default to the task calendar and be blue. So let me just show that as an example. I will click and delete. If I now drag this over, it's still blue because the task calendar, the blue calendar, is the default, not the frame. When I drag it in, it stays as blue. Let's go to here and change this to yes, so it goes back. Now, this task 1, as you see, has a calendar. If I left click, it's got a planned start and planned end. But it's not appearing on the due today because there's no due date on this task. You see here, due date is empty. If I add a due date for the 9th, now task 1 is due today. If I change this to the 10th, click on that, the 10th, it's now due tomorrow. If I click on anywhere in the next 7 days, so up to 16, you see it's now in due soon. If I go to 17, it goes further than I thought. I'm now going to explore and see how far it goes. Let me just give me a second. Wow, this goes much further than I thought. Is it 2 weeks? Yes, 2 weeks. Okay, I knew it was 1 week. Yeah, it's 2 weeks. So if it's in the next 2 weeks, it's due soon. And that will then show inside of these lists. If, of course, the due date is behind today, so if we say it's due on the 8th, it is now overdue. That is how the due lists work, separate from the planned lists. So if we cancel that, because I don't want to do any of that, and now what I'm going to do is add in some more of these frames. So we've got project 2. Let's copy that one, go into here and paste in there. So I can now go to edit, and you see we want to go every week and save. I'm going to click in the spot there and paste the frame again. Click in the spot there, paste the frame again. Going to make it longer and make it longer. Oh, I missed it a little bit. And then let's go to edit this one, and we'll go every week, save, and then drag that down because I didn't actually do it, and then go repeat every week, save. Now, if I go to the AI planner, next week you'll see task 4, 1, and 3 from project 1 is being scheduled in project 1, and in project 2 we then have task 1, and eat healthy. We have eat healthy because I didn't add any filters. I forgot to add the filters. So let's add the filter, and we go project 2, save, in here, edit. And what's really nice about these frames is because these are obviously recurring, all of the filters continue. So even though I'm doing this on this week, because they are just like events and just like tasks, these filters go all the way through to the next week. So when I push save, if I go to next week, you'll notice inside of here, the filter still says 2. So now when I go to the AI planner, we've got task 1 being suggested, which is very nice. And what you'll notice is task 2 isn't there because it would be overdue. So if we, let's go out of there. Oops, go into here. Let's just change this due date to be there. Save. Now go to the AI planner. There we go. Task 2 is being suggested because now it's not being put in overdue. Because it was due on the 11th, the AI planner wouldn't suggest you to do a task after the due date. That doesn't really make much sense. So now it's being suggested as a task to be done on project 2. And what we can do with these frames is we've got project 1, project 2, obviously, but we can mix and match. So instead of, if I go back to today, instead of having a day theme, we could have a timed theme. So if I delete that project 3, and move that project 2 over to Wednesday, yeah, this and future occurrences, I could change this frame and say this is going to be a spot for project 3. Let's go to frame, and project 3 is actually project 2 or project 1. It could be either of them. So we've got filtered 6 is the option, and that is going to be oops, didn't want to do that. Don't want it every weekday. We want every week. Save this and future occurrences. So now we go to the AI planner. You see Monday and Tuesday is being suggested, not just the Wednesday. Yeah, not just the Wednesday. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's go back. That covers frame planning. That covers event blocking, recurring, task blocking and recurring, and all of the goals being on the all day section or being inside of the calendar. Hopefully that answers most of your questions. This is how I would plan out my week. This is how I do plan out my week. And for a 2-week schedule, you could do the same thing, because if I go into this one, go to every week, every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, I could be working on project 2. So you can customize the frames as much as you want with the recurring events and tasks. And so any task that is added inside of the project or the goal or the task list can be added to the frame. This also works, like I say, with external tasks. So you could use Obsidian tags or ClickUp statuses or linear statuses or Todoist task lists or labels, which I think is really helpful. Let's go back to the week. How long have I been talking? Oh, half an hour. That's quite nice, actually. Nice round time. Yes, so I think that covers most of the things. I manage my projects in Obsidian, so the task will be part of the note. Can this also be used within the filters? Yes, so I don't have Obsidian connected to this. Do I have an Obsidian Vault on this? Because I'm on a different user. Give me a second. I don't think I have. Yes, you can. Because I'm on a different user on my computer, I don't have an Obsidian Vault. Oh, actually, I could connect. This is going to be. Hopefully, it works. Let's go with that one. Select. Yes, there we go. So now it should be connecting the Vault. It did. Good. Now I go here. It's a little empty. Why? Oh, that's because I don't have. Yeah, that's because I don't have Obsidian on this thing. I will sort that out for the next one. But yes, so when you're inside of the filter, you could filter for the note, so the file. You can filter for the file. So if you've got a project 1 is the name of the file. Do I have Obsidian on? No, I don't. That's what I thought. Yeah, so the file name, if the file name was project 1, you could have the filter for is note, like is note project 1. If you're using tags, you could say is project 1, or you can have the project 1 tag inside of the task, inside of the task name. So you could filter the Obsidian tasks by the tag or the note, which I do, yes, I do for my work. So I have the project file as the filter frame in one of my frames, and then a couple of other frames I use different tags. So I might have a task that could be in, let's just use these labels. It could be in project 1 because of the note filter. It could be in project 2 because of the tag filter, but it could be in project 3 because of either of those filters. And so I might have a task that's in the file that doesn't have the tag, so it'll only appear in project 1. Hopefully that makes sense and you managed to follow. If not, watch the replay and rewind. And I will make sure I get Obsidian on this account on my computer so that I can demonstrate that as an example. But yes, that is possible. It is doable with inside the frame filters, which is one of the reasons that I would personally use frame filters over blocking with an event or a task, because a task is obviously limiting with just the name of the task. That is something worth mentioning, which I didn't mention before. I've mentioned in previous office hours, is that the task is a slot. So if I double click and change the name of this to let's just call it new name task and enter, this slot has a unique name to the actual task, which, what was it? Was it this one? I think it was this one. So if I drag that in again to here, you see it's task 1. I can double click and then go 1 + 1. So the main task stays the same, but the task slot has a unique name. It also has a unique description. So if I add notes here, it won't be, save that, it won't be inside of this slot, and it won't be inside of, there we go. It won't be inside of this slot, but if I add description inside of the main task and then drag that in, now when I double click, the description will be in there. Hopefully that clarifies what's going on. And if I was just, while we're here, to click off all of these tasks, the main task, even though it has multiple sessions, the main task will still remain there. Oh, I was a bit too quick on that one. There we go. The main task will stay there until you've completed the task, right at the top, right in the sidebar, which is why I make sure I have due dates in my tasks so they appear up top and they don't get lost. And for recurring tasks, as you will have seen earlier in the recording, I normally have a recurring task list and I hide it. So I will have recurring, save, and then any recurring task like this task 2 that, oh, is it recurring? Is it actually recurring? No, it's not recurring. It was recurring. Oh, that was because, maybe that's something to explore. I don't know what's going on there. But let's just make that into a recurring task so I can show you what I mean. Let's just say every month, save. I would then change it from the project list to the recurring list, save. So now it's in the recurring list, and then go to view and turn off the recurring list. So it's still showing. I can still access it. I can still search for it. So task 2. It still appears there, but it's inside the recurring task list, which is just being hidden. But yes, so this and future occurrences. I think that covers everything that I wanted to cover. Is there any other questions? That was a good question as well, by the way, Bettina. If there are any other questions, let me know inside of the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to sign off for today. Let's just unschedule all of these and start cleaning up. Actually, no, I didn't think it would. I didn't think I could. Let's do this one, this and future occurrences, this and future occurrences. I'm not seeing anything inside of the chat, so let's just delete that and delete that and get ready for, oh, maybe it did sync. Oh, it did sync. It just took a long time. There you go, Bettina. It did sync. So if I go in here, you'll see there's the note filter, which I've got quite a few of. If I scroll all the way down to the bottom, there is the tags that I don't use much of anymore. But yes, so right at the end, you managed to see it. I was wondering why I was getting due date visualizations there. But yes, hopefully that answers all your questions and shows you how I would recommend planning inside of Morgen. Let's just make myself big. Yeah, thank you for joining. It'll be the same time next week. Office hours will be the same time next week, but the week after, I believe we're going to have a guest that's going to showcase how they're using them, which is going to be exciting. And if there's anything that you want to discuss on an office hour, or any questions you want to ask on an office hour, or anything you want me to go through, or any questions you have for any of us on the team, let us know inside of the Discord, and we will try and get a conversation going. Maybe I can persuade some of the other team members to join me on here, and we can have a conversation as a Morgen team. I'm going to hide the hide the obsidian jumper. My Morgen one's in the wash. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining and for listening in the background. And I will see you all in Discord.